Please open project 1D. In cell E10, we are going to apply the total format. Since this is the only total we have here, it's the only thing that needs to be total. The next thing we want to calculate is the percent of total retail value. This means we want to know how much each one of these items has contributed to our total. So there's a calculation that we need to run. So we need to know the percent of our total that each item costs or earns for our company. So we're going to do in cell F4 equals, and then click on E4. We want to know its percent of the total. So divide E4 by E10, and then hit the check mark on there. So this is a percent, which means that we need to come up to our number group here and click on percentage. So it says 1%. I'm going to increase it to do 2 decimal places. So that's the power hurdles only produce 1% of our total income. So go ahead and save your work and then use the fill handle to drag this down. And we get an error. So double click on cell F5. So remember before when we've used the fill handle, how whenever we drag it down, it drags down the formula and all the relative cells. Well, we want this cell to stay the same. So if we look in our formula for F4, we see E10 is there, but we want to stay the same every time we drag it down. So we need to make this an absolute cell reference. The way you make E10 an absolute cell reference is you keep it the same by putting a $sign in front of the E and a $sign in front of the 10. So this is the only part of our formula that gets $signs because this is what we want to stay the same. So hit the check mark and then use the fill handle to drag down. And now it works. So if you double click, it does divide your retail value of the item by the total retail value. So it'll work every time now. All right, so here I'm going to show you one of the very best parts about Excel. So what I want you to do is I want you to come into B5. So we're going to change the quantity of our speed hurdles. So we're going to pretty much cut this in half. So we're going to make this 550 and then press enter. You'll notice that every one of our totals has now shifted. So this is now a different number. All of our percents recalculated. So in Excel, if you change any number that's used in a calculation, it adjusts later on, which makes your life a lot easier because all you had to do is put in the formula. This does all the math for you. Now say you wanted to adjust one number. So like we want this to be 275. There's a couple different ways to do it. So you can do it here and just put the insertion point here and make it 75. Or you can edit on the formula bar too. Now, in Excel, you can also readjust where things are. So click on 3. So we're going to, on the 3 row header, so we're going to insert a row. So the easiest way to do that is right click on 3 and say insert. Gives you a brand new row. And look, whenever you insert a row, it brings down the formatting of the row above it. So this is the exact same formatting we have here. So go ahead, except for the merge and center. So let's select those and we'll merge and center them. So we have just one cell. Change the background color to something different. And we're going to apply the heading 2 style to it too. So come in here and say as of January 17th. So whenever you insert something, select the row where you want it to go and it will push everything down. Same thing if you want to insert a new column. So select B, we're going to insert a new column B. So it's going to shove everything in this column and over to the right. So right click on B and say insert. And in B4 type warehouse location. In B5 type Atlanta. Atlanta again in B6 and B10. So I'm just going to put this right away and use that autocomplete. Then in cell B7, it's going to be Marietta, and so is B8 and B9. There's not going to be a location for the total retail value. Go ahead and click Save. So for this document, we do not need to see the average cost. We only need the quantity and the retail price. So select column D, right-click on it, and say Delete. And it doesn't adjust any of our calculations because that whole column was not used at all. Go ahead and save, and then select on the column headers from B to F. So just click on B whenever it becomes that arrow, and then drag all the way through F. And I want you to set these columns to 95 pixels. There we go. So now we've caused an error. This just means our column is not wide enough. So set just column E just until you can see the number. So you can either do that or just double click. But we really don't need to save values, so make sure you kind of adjust. So this is 110 pixels. Then what I want you to do is select row 4, and I want you to hit the button Wrap Text. So now all of those words that were too long to fit, now all fit. And then in our alignment group, go ahead and center align and middle align all of those values. It would help if they were all selected. And then apply the heading 4 style to them, as well as A5 through A11. And click Save. Then I want you to select B5 through B10 and right click. This is called the mini toolbar. So you can actually center straight from here. And I want you to fill this with a different color. And click Save. Go to the Page Layout tab. And over here in the Themes group, you can actually change the colors of your theme. So I want you to pick a different color version of your theme. And while you're here in Page Layout, go to Margins, Custom Margins. Center on the page horizontally, and click OK. Then I want you to go to the Insert ribbon, and all the way on the right there's text, and it says Header and Footer. So insert a header and footer, and it's going to change your page layout. So we are in the header. Click Go to Footer, and in the left side I want you to put the file name. And it says and file, but if you click up here into your sheet, it actually changes the name. So now if you notice down on the bottom right of Excel, there's a zoom in over here, and there's different page layouts. So I want you to change back to the normal view. Right, go to File to display the Backstage view, and go to Print to check out our print preview. So this is a good way for you to check to make sure you have everything and looks right, and also make sure that your footer is showing up. I'm going to change this to Landscape. And so go to Page Layout, Orientation, and Landscape. Then click Save, turn the down Moodle, and you're ready for the next project. Good luck!